Hiawatha Trail. It is about an hour and a half from us, so we got up semi-early this morning. Not really, but so we're headed there now. So basically what this is, it's old train tracks that came through the area during the gold rush era, and they've turned it into a quick, easy jaunt. From what I hear, it's about a 15-mile bike trail, and you go downhill most of the way. You can go back uphill, but I at least am not going to do that today. But so what we're going to do is we're going to go pick up our bikes now, and you do that at a different place, and then you go to the trail and they drop your bikes off there, and I will show you all of it. We'll go through all of it as we go. Because we paid for our bikes to be transported directly to the start of the trail, we did not have to put them in our car at Outlook Pass. However, if you do want to pick them up at Outlook Pass, you can also do that. Okay, so we are on our way. Got our map here. So basically you pick up your stuff at Lookout Pass, which is somewhere on here, skiing rake area. And then that's exit 0 in Idaho, Montana border. And then you go further into Montana and go to exit 5 to get your bikes, or you pick up your bikes here, whichever you decide. So we're gonna go pick up our bikes at exit 5, and I will explain further from there. All right, go right at the wooden bridge. Apparently it's this one. Was that a half a mile though? Yeah. Onto Route 506. Yep, it's 2 miles. The parking lot was packed by 11 a.m. and we had to park pretty far away, so definitely be prepared for that. Picking up our bikes here.
So, this is interesting.
The Hiawatha Trail is a 15-mile-long bike trail where you ride through 10 train tunnels and over 7 trestle bridges. To start, you will go through a 1.6-mile-long dark tunnel, which was my least favorite part. Sounds like it's most people's least favorite part. It was cold and dark and wet, and it seemed to last forever. The cool part, though, is that when you enter the tunnel, you're in Montana, and when you exit, you'll be in Idaho. So we just got out of the tunnel. It was very long and very wet and very dirty. Like, all dirty. So just know that you're going to be dirty because it's very wet in there and it's very long. But now we're going to continue on the rest of the path, which should be fun. Okay, so just so you know, when you get done with the big tunnel, you pass the shuttles, which is where we're going to get dropped off at, and then there is a bathroom here. So if you think you have to go to the bathroom right at the end of, or right before the tunnel, you can actually wait here, and there was no line here, so it's kind of nice. The Hiawatha Trail follows the crest of the Bitterroot Mountains and is the route of the Milwaukee Railroad that ran between Idaho and Montana. Oh, sunglasses. It began running in the early 20th century, and at its height, it had tracks all the way from Chicago to Seattle. The railroad was constructed between 1906 and 1911 and took more than 9,000 men to build the Pacific extension. In 1910, a forest fire burned nearly 3 million acres, devastating the area and killing dozens, which also caused innovation by the railroad. They electrified all their trains after that. The last passenger train passed through the line in 1961, and the last commercial line passed through in 1980. It was abandoned after that. The first section of the current trail was opened in 1998 to hikers and bicyclists, and the long tunnel was opened in 2001. Here are my top tips for the Hiawatha Trail. Number 1, the trail is very family-friendly and good for people of all athletic levels. It has a 1.6% downgrade on the whole thing, so unless you decide to ride back up, the entire thing is downhill. We saw people from the age of 1 to 70 and older. If you can ride a bike, you can do this trail. However, if you can't ride a bike, if you can ride a recumbent bike, you can also do that down the trail. Our first bridge. Well, it is hot in the area most of the summer. The tunnels can be pretty cold. I wore leggings, a tank top, and brought a little light jacket. The jacket was perfect for the long tunnel, but then I took it off after that. In the first tunnel, you will likely have mud all over you. If you want to avoid this, try to go slow through the tunnel. Also, make sure you bring sunglasses. So we just heard something in the woods over here, so now we are seriously pedaling across this bridge because it's probably about to follow us, but otherwise, totally safe. We're gonna be on that soon. Number 3, bring food and snacks. You can purchase a lunch along with your ticket, but I'd recommend just bringing some water and some small snacks. You may get hungry on the trail, but there is also food and drinks for purchase at both ends of the trail, so remember that. Bridges so far, so there are a ton of them here, which is really cool. And this one we decided to stop just because beautiful surroundings and everything. Eric is trying to figure out where we are, but really there's only one way to go, and we feel like we probably have about 5 miles left. Number 4, understand that because of how easy this trail is, you will get all kinds of bike people. There is not any sort of bike etiquette on the trail. People would just cut us off. Some people didn't wear helmets. There was a lot of families all riding together, not really caring that you were there. And so they just kind of rode over you. So my tip here is just go into it with patience because you're going to find all different kinds of people. Number 5, if you have watched any of my outdoor videos in the past, you know that I am slightly afraid of the outdoors and specifically bears. I really did not feel unsafe at any time during this trip. There are plenty of people around, and really all you have to do is be able to outrun one of them, right? And so bears probably really want to stay away from this trail, which is good news for me. Number 6, if you are afraid of heights, stay in the middle of all the trestles because there is a long drop to the bottom and not much between you and the edges either. Number 7, take your time. This is not a race and there is so much to see. There were dozens of historical markers explaining the history of the area and the railroad, and it's so worth it to stop at least a couple of them and read some of the history. When we were close to the end, I was thinking it was maybe a few miles too long, and I was kind of wondering when it was going to be over, but then suddenly it just ended, and I felt kind of sad. Enjoy your time on the trail and take your time going through it. Number 8, the shuttle line can be very, very long. We waited in line for just about an hour, and the line was much longer by the time we actually got on the shuttle at the end. If you have small children, just know it could be a very long wait, and they are going to get very, very bored. We saw children running all over, going into the woods, all that kind of stuff, because they were just standing there for an hour. Also, once you get off the shuttle, you have to pick up your bicycle and then ride back through the long tunnel again, so be prepared for that. There was a woman in front of us on the shuttle who kind of freaked out when we got to the end because she thought that she was done and she had to get back on her bike. Number 9, this is a full day adventure. We arrived at around 11 thinking we'd be home by 2, but because we took our time, plus the time we spent in the shuttle line, we ended up not getting back to our cars until around 4 o'clock. Expect it to take a full day, but really enjoy yourselves. I loved this adventure. I would totally do it again, and I would definitely bring people who are coming to town to do it too, because like I said, anybody could do it, and it was such a great experience. If you are anywhere near North Idaho or Eastern Washington or Western Montana, definitely check out the Hiawatha Trail next time you're there. This bus ride is a little terrifying because we're right on the edge there. Of course, I sat on the side of the cliff face, so that's fun. Walking back to our car after. After, and it's just pretty empty, but it was super full when we got here.
There was nothing.
Something to think about. There is not unlimited parking. Also, look at that cool cloud.